Okay, so let's quickly look. So today we want to run through just the basics of making a program using Microsoft Access database and accessing the information on there. Alright, so let's just start with, let's have a DB grid. Okay, this is where we can see our database. The other components we'll need is our what is that again? ADO connection, and we're gonna need our ADO table. If you can remember the ADO connection, we're going to use this one to create a link between our program and the database itself. Then our ADO table, we'll take a table out of there and put it in there so that we can use it. Last time we did not need the ADO query, but we're going to use one now. ADO query is where we're going to put our SQLs into. So we can use that for our SQLs. And then we need our data source. The data source will then be our link between our ADO table or query with our grid itself. And then we'll most probably need some buttons to just do something. Okay, then I'm just going to save this. I'm going to just save it on the desktop. Make a new folder. I'm just going to call it DB. Just going to save it in there. Okay, then for now I'm just going to use one of these ones that we already worked with. I think I'm going to take the golf one because we know that a bit. So we're just putting our database inside, especially for Anneke, but for the rest of you as well. When you create your database, however, just make sure it's a MDB. When you go to Microsoft Access and you create it the first time, and you create a blank database the first time, it will automatically be an ACCDB. Now we don't use that format. So what you'll need to do, just go on this folder button. And then when you create it, just here by save type as, choose any of the top two. So either 2000 to 2003 or the 2000 format. Either one, both will be MDBs. And then it will create it in the correct format. If it's ACCDB, unfortunately at this stage it won't work. So if you did already create yours in ACCDB, you can open it and then just go save as and then change the file type there and then just save it again. Then I suggest maybe delete the ACCDB one so that you don't get confused between the two. So our database always needs to be MDB. And then you put your database in the same folder just to make our life easier. Alright, now let's create our link again first. So you're going to go on your ADO connection. Our step 1, we go to our connection string. We go to the ... You say build. We choose our Jet4. You say next. Here select your database. So we go on the ellipse sign. You choose your golf. It should automatically go to that folder. You can test if you want to. It should always work. And then you say OK. Let's just see. Yeah. You go OK. After you did your connection string, by login prompt, just make that false. Then you go to your table 1. At our connection, we choose ADO connection 1. Then you go down. At our table name, you can now choose your table, whichever one you want to. I'm going to choose whole for now. No, yeah, let's stick with whole. And you can go active if you want to. Then our next step, for now, we can choose our data source. For now, we can say we want to select our table, so that we start with this table being selected. And then we go to our DB grid, and there at data source, we choose our data source 1. And then you should see all the holes there already. Alright, so for me, our first step now will be, we'll do some code constructs. We're going to do the 3 code constructs, or we can do one of each. So with our buttons, let's create some buttons here. So I'm going to have 4. So you remember when we did databases, I spoke about the CRUD, create, read, update and delete. So we're going to do a CRUD for each of them. One for code construct, one for SQLs. Alright, so let's just call this button, this will be code for search. This will be the code insert. This will be our code delete. This will be our code update. And then we're going to do the same this side. So for this side we're going to do an SQL search. And this side we'll do an SQL insert. This one will do SQL delete and an SQL update. Alright, so we're going to do one of each, then we should be fine. And then what we'll do next week is we'll focus on our SQLs to just build up a bit more, especially looking at those user defined ones where we can get a value actually, or a dynamic SQL where we can get a value from the user and insert it into our SQLs itself. Alright, but let's start with a search. Okay, so we didn't change the names of these things. So this will be for code search. Alright, so let's say in this one, I'm just going to use the one just so that we just get the basics through again. Yeah, next time, as I said, for next week we can do the dynamic ones, but we can also look at like multiple tables when we want to get something between 2 tables for insert and for SQLs and for code construct. But so for code, let's say we wanted to see all the holes that's got a par score of 4. So show all whole numbers. Show all whole numbers that has a par score of 4. Okay, so what I am gonna need. Alright, so let's see. Show all the whole numbers that has a par score of 4. So everything, we've got all the information we need. We don't need to ask the user for anything. If we needed any information from the user, we would have asked it now first. Okay, but we don't. So now we must remember, so our step 1 is we have to start at the first position in our table. Because you'll see there our cursor is automatically there, but we don't know what these buttons did, and if the cursor is now maybe in the middle somewhere. So whenever you do a search, your first step would always be just put the cursor back at the top. Our components. Okay, I'm going to leave my components the basic names, just so that we can easily refer to them for now. But then you'll see from our next program, we'll rename the components just to make it better and more accessible. So our step 1 would be, we want to take our ADO table 1 and we want to go to the first record. So this will just put our cursor back up there by the first record initially. Now what do we want to do? We are looking for the par score of 4, which is in the par field. So we want to now go through the whole table. Do you agree? We want to go hole by hole or record by record, and every time check if the par is 4, and if the par is 4, we want to display the whole number. So we want to go one by one by one by one. So start at the first one, then while we are not at our ADO table 1's end of file, we want to do begin. So with this you can do the while loop, which is fine, or if you wanted to, you could have done the repeat until we're at our ADO table 1 end of file. So either repeat until or a while, doesn't matter which one you want. So but you start at the first record, then we create our loop, and because we've got a loop, you remember there's always 3 parts. This is our condition, so we want to stop at the end of the table. That means we have to initialize, which is we're starting at the first record, and that means we have to change it on the inside. So our ADO table 1, we have to go to the next record. I would advise you do it this way. It's really, so many people forget this line, and I think if you always remember your while loop or the repeat loop needs 3 parts. You can have the condition, but then it needs to be initialized beforehand, and it needs to be changed on the inside. Alright, so this will loop through the table for us, starting at the first record, going through each of them, and now we want to see if the par score is 4. So that just means if. And which thing? We want to look at the field par inside this ADO table. So if our ADO table 1's, the field par is equal to 4. So if the par field has got a value of that, then
Yes.
we want to display it. Okay, so only thing that was missing on our part here was maybe just a rich edit where we can display the answer into. So let's change this name to red display. Alright, so with this one, if our ADO table's par score is 4, then in our red display .lines.add, we want to add our ADO table's field called whole number. Alright, so you'll see because I don't have a begin there, I don't need the end. And then we can quickly try this one. Let's see what it does. So when we click the search, there's all our numbers. So all these whole numbers has got a par score of 4. Yeah. Alright, so that's the basics of a search with code construct. Our next one. Okay, so for today I'm going to make all of them very straightforward. So our insert code, we want to add whole number 19 with a par of 5. So just going to add it. We're going to do the same with the SQL. So our question with this one will be a fixed one, while we just want to add whole number 19 with par of 5. Alright, so this thing's name, button code insert. Alright, so how this one works now, we want to insert. Now we're just adding a record to this, so it doesn't matter where our cursor is because it will automatically add at the end. So we don't need to worry saying first or last or whatever. We can just do the insert. So how the insert works, step 1 will need to be, we need to put our table in insert mode. So to do that, we just say our ADO table 1 insert. Now some people use append. It's the same thing. I don't know, yeah. Even in my grade 12s last year, I taught everybody insert, but for some reason some of them like to do append. And then it's fine. Append works also 100% fine. It really doesn't matter. So once your table is in insert mode, now we have to give values to the specific fields. So our ADO table 1 field whole number must get the value of 19. And our ADO table 1 field par must get a value of 5. So you just put it in insert mode, then you give each of the fields the values that they need to get. They can be, if they're text, then you'll just put, if these fields are text and not numbers, you'll just make them strings. Even if they are numbers, if you make them strings, they still actually work. So maybe if you're not sure, always put them as strings and then you sort it. And then once you've added all the values to the fields you wanted to, then you must just save this thing. So your ADO table 1 dot post. It's like the save. So when you play this now, and we click insert, there you'll see number 19 inserted. Alright, so that's our adding with code construct. Deleting. So we can go look for a specific one to delete, but I also like to ask just delete the selected record. So the one the user selects, we must just delete that one.
So I checked the differences between append and insert. Apparently append adds the thing to the end of a list and insert adds it to wherever you are at the moment.
Yeah, but you see with a database, the insert always adds to the bottom.
Okay.
So yeah, so you'll see if we change this to well, it's gonna give us but let's say if we make this append and let's make this 29. So you'll see if we click there and we click the insert, it still adds it to the bottom. So I don't know what the difference is, but it doesn't matter, both work, so however you want to. Alright, so now we're deleting the selected one. So the user selects a record and we want to delete that one. Literally all you do is your ADO table 1 dot delete. So how this works, you can go and we can look. I'm going to delete 19. So you select the one, click delete, 19's gone. You can click on the 29, click delete, 29's gone. Alright, so if they asked you delete all the records that's got a pass score of 4, you literally just do a search. So you'll go your first, while you're not at the end of the table, with your next and your end, and then if the ADO table pass score is 4, then, and then the only thing you'll change is this inside. Instead of displaying it, you'll just put your ADO table 1 dot delete, and that will go and delete all the pass scores of 4. I'm not going to show it now because then I'm going to delete everything in my database, so then it just messes it up. But yeah, so if they wanted you to delete something specific, you'll just do a sort or a search, and then you'll just do your delete on the inside of your if. Then it will only delete those ones, but all of them that applies to this criteria. And then our last one, update. So let's say they say all the holes with a pass score of or let's say all the even number holes, they want to add 1 to the pass score. Alright, so all the even number holes, add 1 to the pass score. Alright, so same thing applies with this one. Your step 1 will be the search. Let me just change this name. Button code update. So step 1, when we want to search, we have to go to the first record. After you're at the first record, we want to go through the whole table. So that means our let's do the repeat for this one. Repeat until our ADO table 1 is at the end of the file. And then with our repeat until, there's our condition. So we initialize beforehand, we have to change on the inside. So our ADO table 1 dot next. Alright, now they said we have to look for all even number holes. So that condition. So if our ADO table, the field whole number, how do we find out if something is again an even number?
If that number mod 2 equals 0.
Ah, well done. So if we take the whole number and we mod it by 2 and it's equal to 0, that means it's an even number. So now we want to update the parse score by 1. To do this, we do have to do more than one line. So we're going to need a begin and end here. So first thing we do is our ADO table, we have to put in edit mode. So you'll see for insert, let's just do this. One. For insert, you can either choose insert or append. When you want to delete, you have to delete. And when you want to update, you put it in edit mode. Once it's in edit mode, now we can change. So now we say ADO table 1. The field we want to change is the par field. And what it must become is whatever it was plus 1. And then we want to just post it again. So we just want to save this thing. Alright, let's see if this works. So 2 was 4, 4 was 4, 6 was 3. Let's see if I update this. So 2 is 5 now, 4 is 5 now, 6 is 4 now. All updated. Alright, so that's how that works. Any questions at this stage? So next part is our SQL section. This is actually very easy. The piece we're going to do now will actually be given to you at exam time. You don't need to do this part we're doing now. This will basically be for PAT purposes, that you need to see what we're doing now. So I'm just going to change this name. So this is button SQL for search. Alright, I'm going to use exactly the same questions so that we can see what we want happening here. So show all the whole numbers that has a parse score of 4 with SQL. Alright, so what we're going to do, we actually, at the whole stage we were busy here, all of these, or actually just a search, refer to this ADO table. No, all of them. all of them we worked with the ADO table where we changed what was happening in this ADO table and the data source was displaying that. What we're going to do now when we want to do this search, our query will actually get the answer. So at the end we're just going to change that our data source doesn't display what's in ADO table, but it must display what's in the ADO query. Alright. But so our first step would be, we're going to take our ADO query. Now we don't know which buttons was already clicked, so this ADO query could have another SQL in it already. So our first step would be to maybe close it down so that it's not running currently. Then we want to take our ADO query 1 and our SQL we just want to clear. So that will just remove any SQL that's already in there. It will just take it out for us. Now what we want to do is we want to take this SQL and give it a value. Okay, we'll come back to that. Let me just see on this one. Yeah. Alright. After we've given it, so our SQL we're going to type in there. After we've done that, yeah, we'll just see. Maybe we need to add, but okay, we'll see just now. And then when we're done with that, our ADO query 1, we just want to, for a search, we're going to open it because we want to see what's inside there. And then, remember I told you, so this is just closing, so just putting it off, clearing the SQL, putting in a new SQL, and then opening it up again. So the answer will be inside here. So we want the data source to display whatever's in there. So we just want to make our data source 1. The data set should be our ADO query and not the table. So, alright, let's look. Show all whole numbers that has a parse score of 4. Okay, who can help me with the SQL for that? How do I do that? Is it select, update, delete? What's our first word?
Select.
Select. Alright, so we want to see the whole numbers. So the next thing is the field we want to see, which is whole number. So we want to select the whole number. Is the whole
So
number
should that be in like separate things there then, the whole number?
separate words? Sorry, Stefan, quickly repeat. Okay, course is correct in the from part. Stefan, if you can hear, just repeat your question. I'm not too sure what you asked me now. So we want to select the whole number. So you select the field that you want to see.
Never mind, I was just being dumb.
Okay, I sorted. Alright. So we want to select the field we want to see from, and then it's the table. Remember our table name was TBL whole. So from TBL whole. Remember when you do, especially when you do code construct and SQLs, please don't get confused and put like ADO table 1 in there now. Alright. So this refers directly to the database. So select the field name from the table, and then what's next after that? We want to show all whole numbers that has a parse score of 4.
Where?
Ah, well done. So where our field par is equal to 4. Alright, let's quickly play this thing. Okay, some errors. Yeah, okay, I thought so. Okay, So we just needed to, it's your IDEO query 1.sql.add. I'm just going to delete this thing now. Alright. IDEO query 1.sql.add and then put the SQL inside. Now it should work fine. And then when we click the search, and then we've got it. Oh, okay. Okay, what I forgot, sorry about this. Remember with our table, we made the connection. We just have to do the same with our query. So our query's connection must also just be IDEO connection 1. Alright, now we're back at it again. Now we can search, and there, those whole numbers has got a pass score of 4. 1, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 15. Yeah. Alright, so in exams, you will basically get it like that. And the only part you need to do is you just go, you type in the SQL there, and it will run and it will work. So you'll see when you do your homework for Friday, what they did was they actually removed these components into another unit. So you can't actually see them. But there's just one space. They just ask you, just type the SQL in here. So you'll just type the SQL there, and it will actually put it into these components just through other unit, and then run it, and then it should be fine. So the only part you will do for SQLs is this piece here, where you actually do the SQL. So the trick with this one is with a select statement. Do you agree we're gonna, because what the select does, it actually gathers information from the database that we need to display. And that's why we open the query and we display the query. When we're doing the other three, do you agree all three of them will just change the database itself, but it won't actually return an answer because we're not extracting information from the database. We're just changing the database. So that's what we'll need to remember with these ones. Alright, so let's do the insert one. Let me just change the name again. Okay, so there's button SQL insert. Alright, so how this one works, we'll actually still have the first three parts the same. Take this. Okay, let's just put our question again. We're doing insert, so let's do the same question here. Okay, but now we're doing the insert, so our SQL will change. So what we'll do, we'll still close the query, we'll still clear our SQL, then we'll still add our new SQL, but the difference is after that, our IDEO query 1 will execute SQL. This means they must just run the SQL, but not return an answer for us. Now our only problem with this, you'll see when we run this, we won't actually see the difference. So what we want happening with this one is we want to take our IDEO table 1 and just close it, and then take our IDEO table 1 and just open it again. So what that will do is that will just, it will close the table, and when you open it again it actually extracts the like a new version from the database. So then we'll see the change happening. While if we didn't do this, we won't see the one we added because it wouldn't have been updated yet.
So basically it's like how Microsoft Access, when we do a change in like our SQL browser, it doesn't immediately show up, we have to
Yes.
refresh it. That's
Yes.
exactly what I'm doing.
Exactly that, yeah. So that's what we're doing there. The IDEO table 1.refresh, there is an option like that. It however doesn't always work for some reason. Why, I don't know. Some of you will use that and it will work 100% fine for you, and some of the rest of you it will just not work and just not do anything. So this is the tried and tested way that actually always works. So this is our best option. Alright, so now we want to add a hole number 19 with a pass score of 5. So our SQL will be insert into. Then it's our table name, which is tbl whole. Then we can say our values, and the values we've got there is the whole number is 19 and the pass score is 5. Both is integers, so we don't need any quotes or anything like that. It's literally just like that. And then let's quickly run this thing. Let's see if it works. Click the insert. Let's just go down, and there you'll see number 19 is there.
Huh. So if you populating all of the records, you don't, well, all of the rows, or I forgot the name, you don't have to state which column you need to. You just put the value straight.
Yes, yeah. So if you've got a value for each field, you can just give the values. If we didn't, you needed to specify the fields there, where this would be whole number, and then after the whole number, the parse score. So, but this is not required if you've got all the values you need. But if you want to learn it and always put that, that's fine. That's also fine. It might just take you long if you've got lots of fields and you want to insert a lot of things. Mentioning all the field names here might take some time. But yeah, so you can have it with it or without. Let's just have that option here. Alright, so we can just do that because we have all the field values. Alright, then the next one, our delete. SQL. Okay, so our delete, same thing. Applies. And let's just see where's our delete. Oh, oof, okay, selected record won't work nicely now. Let's.
Sir?
Yes.
For the close and open at the end of the code to refresh the database, sir, if you just used open and you didn't add the close, why wouldn't it work?
Say again, if we just had the open, for which ones are you looking at now? These ones.
Yes, sir.
If you didn't have the close. I don't know, we can try this. Let's see.
No, sir. I mean, oh yeah, not the close at the top, sir. I mean the close second last, sir.
Oh, these ones.
Yes, sir. For that little refresh, sir. If you just had open, like to open it again, if you didn't have the close line, would it not work?
Let's try it. I think because it's already open, we'll get an error that states something to that fact. But let's see if we take out the close. So this is the insert one. Oh, okay, wait, it's not the error, don't worry. Okay, that error only arrived because the one we wanted to add was already there. See, 19 is already there, so we can't add another 19. Let's just delete that one. Let's just do the insert again. There. Yeah, see, so because it's already open, it doesn't do the update. So you'll see,
Alright, sir. Thank you.
I clicked the insert, but then the 19 never arrived actually. So yes, we need to close it, otherwise it doesn't actually, because it's already open, it doesn't realize what it must do. You have to close it, open again to just get the new values out for you. Alright, then our delete. So we want to delete whole number 19. So again we close our query, again we clear the query. We want to add a new one. This will also be an execute query, and then we also want to open and close. So we just do our delete from tbl whole. where whole number is equal to 19. So as you can see with all these ones, you just put your SQL inside there and it will actually do it then for you. So now with this, okay, 19 is there, so you can do the delete. There you see 19 is gone. So if we insert, 19 is back, delete, 19 is gone with our SQLs. And then the last one, update. Again, same thing applies. So you'll see with your insert, update and delete, it's always execute SQL, close the IDEO table, open the IDEO table. Only thing we want to change here now, let's quickly see the question was again, update. Oh, oof. Even whole number. Okay, I actually made this question a bit more difficult than I think we can do with SQLs. Let's just change this one's name. Button SQL update. Alright, so I'll maybe do a bit of research for you, or any of you can do it. Let's see if any of you can find it for us. If we can find out if a whole number, so the mod statement, but for SQLs. I'm not sure if you can use mod in SQLs and how that would work. So we can look at that. I think what we'll do at this stage is we'll just add one to the pass score for let's say whole number 10. Number 10 for now. Alright, so then we just do our
I think I know how to do it.
Is it that you Google it for us?
What do you mean Google?
Alright, what did you do?
I'm just like thinking and looking through my my Hey Google activated. So it's just like, I think it's where in your where statement you would have like mod, and then your first parameter would be the column, and then your second parameter would just be your mod, and then you equate it to 0. I think.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Okay, we can try that now. Let's do this one first. Okay, update our table. We want to set. So which field do we want to change? We want to change the pass score. What must it become? It must become whatever the pass score was, but plus 1. Which field do we, or which record do we want to update? So where our whole number was equal to 10. In this case, let's play this, and then so it's 5 at currently. So if you click it, 6, 7, 8, and so forth. Alright, so those are the basic ones.